Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Saturday edition on my YouTube channel. As everybody that has been subscribed to me, that's been following along with me this season, you know this is the day I do my normal weekly preview, share my takeaways from that Thursday night game, give out my prospect encyclopedia player of Thursday night, and then I'll be diving into the rest of the matchup. So why don't I just go ahead and give my quick takeaways from that game. I don't have a graphic for you. There weren't no like injuries from that game. At least I couldn't remember any. I couldn't find any when I was trying to double check and see if I maybe didn't remember somebody getting hurt during that game. So there's no graphic for you right now until I give out the prospect encyclopedia player of that game. But yeah, so let's start with my takeaways. Obviously, the Patriots handled their business. They won 25-0 over the Atlanta Falcons. As far as the Falcons, for me, this is obviously I would get a rebuild, a retool year for Atlanta in the first year of Arthur Smith. You know, they've came up and showed up in some games, but obviously weren't able to compete with New England on Thursday night. The injuries have just caught up to them at this point. They have very limited options that are going to scare a team outside of Kyle Pitts right now, especially with Cordero out, with Calvin Ridley out for the foreseeable future. So yeah, it was kind of expected Bill Belichick was going to shut down that offense. And then just going forward, I just wonder what Matt Ryan is thinking, because I don't know about you guys, when I was looking at his face, he looked like he was a defeated man. It looked like he was not enjoying himself. And now Matt Ryan is up there in age. He does have a big, I think, like a dead cap hit if they were to try to trade him. So I'm just wondering what Matt Ryan's future is. I know people are wondering if he could get traded, if they could somehow move on from him after this season. You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if Matt Ryan might be considering retirement at this point. Just the way his facial expressions were last night. Now, I probably don't see that happening. He probably will at least play another 2 to 4 more years, I'd imagine. But that is something to monitor and see if he is maybe losing his love for the game. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying, like, you know, when he's getting hit as much as he is with how bad that offensive line is in front of him, it just makes football less enjoyable for him. And unless he goes into a winning situation, does he really want to deal with that for another year or two? With what he has left on his contract. So that's something I'm taking away from the Atlanta loss. Other than that, they didn't really show anything of promise. And then taking a look at New England, guys, New England's back in our lives. We should have known this was coming. Bill Belichick was only going to disappear for 1 year, and he's back. He's got himself a really great defense. Obviously, he has retooled that defense, so now he can, you know, come up with his amoeba game plan every week and adjust his defense to what the offense is going to be bringing him on any given week. So yeah, the defense is completely balling out. The Matthew Judon signing has been outstanding for New England. And then you take a look at their offense, man, their offensive line is just dominating when all of them are healthy in the lineup. Now that Trent Brown's back, I was really opening up holes for Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris, able to run down the throat of Atlanta on Thursday night. And then Mac Jones just does what Mac Jones does. He's a very good, like, short to intermediate thrower. Like, he's very accurate. He makes the right reads. He doesn't make any dumb mistakes. Like, the one time he made a mistake was when he did actually throw his first pass over 20 yards. So I know that's where people are going to pick him apart. So, I mean, I do think, you know, I don't think Mac Jones was super impressive on Thursday night, but you just got to like his, you know, how poised he is for being a rookie quarterback. And it seems like he's definitely has been a hit for them so far. I still definitely want to see more out of him. I want to see what he can do if the New England Patriots have to be in a shootout with the opposing team when they are playing a playoff caliber type of team, if their defense is not doing the job. But yeah, you gotta like what you're seeing from Mac Jones so far. And then obviously it's looking like they're going to be pushing down the Buffalo Bills' neck for the AFC East. They're only 1 game back. Obviously, the Bills got the Colts this Sunday. I'll talk about that here just shortly. So things could be getting interesting in the AFC East and in the AFC as a whole because of how competitive it is right now. And then going ahead and put a bow on this, my prospect encyclopedia player of Thursday Night Football. You know, it was looking like Mac Jones was going to be it for most of the night, but then he threw that one interception. And like I said, he wasn't like super impressive. It was a really good offensive win with the ground game and the pass game. It was a good balance attack. So I'm gonna go with my man that he was my third ranked safety in his class. He's in his second year. I thought he was really impressive on Thursday night, and he's been really impressive in year 2, especially since he changed his number from 35 to 23. But yeah, let's go ahead and reveal it. It's Kyle Duggar, the safety for New England. He was covering Kyle Pitts in coverage. He was really sticky on him. He's really developed. He went to a perfect situation to tap into his abilities because he was such a raw talent coming out of the Division Two. Yeah, I think it was. I know it was small school. I think it's Division Two. Lenore O'Brien, and he thought this past Thursday night he had 7 tackles. He had 7 solo. He was just coming up, and he was not allowing any guys to make any moves on him in the open field. He does such a great job of breaking down, getting a wide body so nobody can get around him, and going up and wrapping up and finishing the tackle. He's such a sure tackler in open space. You gotta love that. He had his 1 pass deflection, which came on a 3rd down, which was a really impressive play. Was able to come around and get his hand in the passing lane and get the deflection. I really like the player that Kyle Duggar is becoming, and at some point it's looking like he's gonna blossom into like an all-pro type of safety with how Bill Belichick is tapping in to his abilities as a player. So yeah, that's my Prospect Encyclopedia player of Thursday Night Football. As always, if you want to know what's more about the Prospect Encyclopedia, go to prospectencyclopedia.com to read all about it. You can get the entire PDF for $15. If you're a Patriots fan, you only want to read about the Patriots, you can get the Patriots section for just $1, and then you can always check out the Buck section. I wrote the Buck section. You can check that out for free, see what it kind of looks like, gives you a good idea what to expect, and then if you decide you want to make a purchase of either an individual team PDF or the full PDF, you guys can go ahead and do that. So yeah, again, Kyle Duggar is my Prospect Encyclopedia player of Thursday Night Football. So yeah, let's just go ahead then and get into these matchups for Week 11. I still can't believe it's Week 11. I can't believe Thanksgiving is on Thursday. This fall is flying by, guys. I don't like it because it's going to be depressing when the football season's over. So let me go ahead and get into this first matchup I got set up. We got the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Chicago to face the Bears. There's a number of injuries on both sides that both teams are dealing with right now. Starting with the Ravens, these 3 players are out. Brandon Williams with a shoulder, Pernell McPhee with a knee, Miles Boykin with a finger, and then these number of players are questionable for Baltimore. Marquise Brown with a thigh, Patrick McCarry with an ankle, Latavius Murray with an ankle, Jimmy Smith with a hip, Tavon Young with a foot, Anthony Everett with a thigh, Devin Duvernay with a knee, Cedric Aboye with a thigh, and then Kristen Welch with a foot. And then on the Bears side, they don't have as many, but they have more impactful injuries. Obviously, this one's huge for the rest of the year. Khalil Mack is undergoing foot surgery, so his season is officially over. That defense has not been the same since he left it a couple weeks ago with his when he got hurt. And then Akeem Hicks is out. So you got their 2 best defensive guys up at defensive front are out against a good rushing team. You guys can already tell where I'm going to go with this, right? Allen Robinson's doubtful, so they got their best wide receiver. That is doubtful. Eddie Jackson is questionable, one of their better defensive backs. And then Elijah Wilkinson is questionable with his back. So, yeah, let me just go ahead and start with this on the Ravens side. Like, the Ravens should be able to run all over the Bears defense. Now, like, the Bears still got, like, Robert Quinn up front. They still got Roquan Smith in the middle. So they got some good players. But, I mean, when you lose Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks is not in this matchup, that makes that defense so vulnerable up the middle. So I'm expecting a rush-heavy attack with Lamar Jackson, Devontae Freeman. We'll see if Murray can play, but regardless of who it is, whatever running backs with Lamar, I think they're going to run all over the Bears defense, and that's just going to open up the passing attack for them as well, so they can maybe get some passes to Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman. I think they should be able to move the ball pretty easily against the Bears defense tomorrow, just because they're missing their key defensive leaders up front, and then that's going to allow them to put probably at least 2 to 3 scoring drives against Chicago. Now, you flip sides of the ball, the last time we saw Chicago's offense was pretty impressive with Justin Fields. He put together his best game as a rookie against the Steelers, and I think he's going to build upon that and start putting together some good things. Now, he is going against a traditionally good Ravens defense, but that Ravens defense has been suspect to giving up passing yards. But he's without Allen Robinson, so I'm expecting there's going to be a lot of double tight end sets. We'll probably see like Cole Kmet be pretty involved, maybe some Jimmy Graham attack. Darnell Mooney will get his. Obviously, he's been one of Justin Fields' favorite targets this year as a rookie. And then yeah, so I expect they're going to be able to move the ball through the air. I think they're going to probably try to establish a run with David Montgomery. I just think they're going to have their times where they are struggling to get the rushing attack going. I see this offense where they're going to put together maybe 2+ scoring drives throughout the day, but then I see there's going to be stalled opportunities because I think the Baltimore Ravens should be able to bottle up the rushing attack, and then they're going to be able to, they like to blitz a lot, right? So they're going to send a lot of blitz packages after Justin Fields. So if he can make the right reads and get the ball out of his hands, maybe he can take advantage of it. But then I think there's going to be those rookie moments too, where he makes a quick read and it either results in a turnover or just they just got to punt the ball. I think the Ravens are going to bounce back from their loss against Miami. I think they should be able to handle their business. I say they win like let's say they win like a 28 to 17 type of win for Baltimore. And then moving on to this next matchup, we got, sorry guys, my nose is so itchy for some reason. And then we're moving on to the next game. We have the Green Bay Packers heading to Minnesota to face the Vikings. Taking a look at the Green Bay report, these 3 players are out. David Bakhtiari with a knee, Aaron Jones with a knee, Malik Taylor with an abdomen. And then Alan Lazard is doubtful with a shoulder injury. And then these 2 players are questionable. Rashawn Gary with an elbow and Kingsley Keke with a concussion. And then on the Viking side, Wyatt Davis is out with his ankle. And then Bashad Breeland is questionable with his groin. So this is a very interesting matchup for me because the Vikings are officially 1 game out of 500. They're fighting back to potentially put themselves in the wild card position in the NFC. And then obviously, the Packers got a sizable lead on the NFC North lead, but this is the first of 2 matchups between both teams. And if anything were to go their way, the Vikings technically still have a shot, right, to win the NFC North. So I expect them to come out and give their best effort. I think they're definitely going to be confident after getting that road victory against the Chargers last week. And I think their offense, they're going to have a tough outing against this Packers defense, who's playing a lot better as of late, but they might be missing a Rashawn Gary, who has really came along in year 3 as a edge rusher. So I'm wondering if they're going to be able to get some consistent pressure on Kirk Cousins. I think the Vikings offense will be able to come out, get things going with Dalvin early, and then they're going to be able to start relying on that play action and hit Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. I think the Vikings offense actually should be able to move the ball. I think what it's going to come down to is if the Vikings offense can convert their drives that they get down into scoring position into touchdowns or not. If they are able to do that, then I do definitely like their chances where they're going to be able to put themselves, they're going to be able to be in a position to win this game in the 4th quarter. But they have to convert those drives into touchdowns. They can't rely on field goals because then, knowing the Minnesota Viking things, those field goals maybe end up being a missed field goal. So they have to convert as many touchdowns as they can, especially anytime you're playing Aaron Rodgers. And flipping sides of the ball to that, like Aaron Rodgers, obviously there was kind of some rust there coming back with his first game off of COVID. But this week, I think he's going to be able to get back on track with the passing attack. They're going against a Vikings defense which did pretty well last week against Justin Herbert. We'll have to see if they can repeat that success against Aaron Rodgers. But here's the thing, when you look at the history of the Vikings and the Packers over the recent years with the underneath Mike Zimmer, these teams kind of battle out each other every year. And typically, if the Packers were going to have their struggles, it comes in Minnesota. Minnesota is one of the more underrated home crowds that can affect a team's offense. So I think there's going to be some times where maybe some miscommunication happens on this Packers offense. Now, I do think we're going to see a healthy dose of A.J. Dillon. I think he's going to have a nice little game for them. But then they're going to need, Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers to kind of do their thing and keep drives alive on 3rd down situations and getting down there, because they're going to be out with Lazard more than likely, but they got MVS in there, so I'm sure there'll be some shots deep to MVS throughout the game. They should be able to put together like 2 to 3 scoring drives. I do think this is going to be a very close game. I think it's going to come down to the 4th quarter. I think this is going to be one of those games where it comes down to who has the ball last, maybe who can create a timely turnover in the 4th quarter. Man, I've been debating who I want to pick in this game all week long, but I've always kind of said, I said this a couple weeks ago to a couple friends, that I thought the Vikings were going to fight their way back and put themselves in position to be in the NFC wild card. And if that's going to happen, they got to get to 500. If this was in Green Bay, I would feel different about it. So yes, guys, I'm pulling. I picked the Vikings in that upset last week, and I got it right. I'm going to try it 2 weeks in a row. I am going to pick the Vikings. That might upset some of my friends that are Packers fans. I think the Vikings find a way to win it in the fourth quarter. They win like a 24-21 win over the Green Bay Packers. Moving on to the next game, we got the Colts traveling to the Bills. We as far as injuries, it's a very light report for both sides. For the Colts, Darius Leonard, he's questionable with his ankle and hand. He is expected to play. And then on the Bills side, Star Lotulelei and Spencer Brown are both in COVID protocol, so that's huge, right? So Star Lotulelei, he's a really good defensive tackle, so that could open up things for the rushing attack for Jonathan Taylor and the Colts in the middle of that offense. Middle of that defensive line. And then Spencer Brown is who I was really high on. I really wanted the Colts to actually draft him. But yeah, anyways, he's been put together a really good rookie season. He wasn't really expected to start, but he already earned the starting job at the right side of the line, at the right tackle spot, and he's done some good things now. So now that he's out, that right side of that Bills offensive line might be suspect to be giving up early pressure and sacks to Josh Allen. So that's something to note for both of them. And then Tremaine Edmonds is questionable with his hamstring injury. So yeah, so like with the Bills offense, like they obviously they're going to be a pass heavy offense, right? That's what they're going to be every week. They pretty much don't have any rushing attack that they can respect. So it's actually going to be a strength of the Bills offense, which is their passing attack, going against a weakness of the Colts, which is their passing defense. They're very good against the run, but they have struggled against the pass. They have let really good quarterbacks pick them apart throughout the year. They have always let a one wide receiver go off against them. So I do think Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen are going to have themselves a day against that Colts defense. And what it's going to come down to is the Colts defense, a defensive front who has been coming along over the last couple of weeks with Kwity Paye emerging as a rookie, is they need DeForest Buckner, Kwity Paye, to harass Josh Allen, because he's still a quarterback where if you can get early pressure on him, not let him get comfortable where he can sit back in the pocket, you can create different types of turnovers off of him scrambling and trying to create plays and make things happen out of nothing. Now, with that being said, they have to limit the explosive plays, but I do expect, I think Josh is going to work that secondary about 3 times and get at least 3 scoring drives that ends in touchdowns. I think Stephon Diggs is going to have himself a day, just because that's just what it says. But maybe Xavier Rhodes, his former teammate, actually steps up and balls out and maybe keeps him somewhat in check. But I think the Bills are going to be able to still move the ball. And then you flip sides of the ball, the Colts are going against one of the best defenses in the league, but Jonathan Taylor is on a historic streak right now. I put it in my Colts Wire article that came out on Thursday that we got to start talking about Jonathan Taylor as an MVP candidate if the Colts were to go into the Buffalo, and he's one of the main reasons why they win tomorrow. It's a tough sledding because it's one of the best defenses against the pass, against the run. I think the Colts are going to stick with what worked for them. I think they're going to try to get the run game going early. I think they're going to be working out kinks. As I said in my prediction article for Colts Wire that came out today, how I think this game's going to go is I do think the Bills are going to get out early. They're going to move the ball, but then I think the Colts defense will step up and kind of slow them down. And then as the Colts offense is working out things, I think at some point, late second quarter, early third quarter, Jonathan Taylor is going to break an explosive play and open up things for the offense. That kind of heats up things for the Colts, where they come back and they're in position to win the game. I'm going with Kenny Moore, my man. He dropped a pick interception last week. It's been beating him up. He steps up in the fourth quarter, jumps into a route, picks off Josh Allen, gives the Colts a timely interception. Colts take advantage of it, march down the field. They score a touchdown to take the lead. Yes, I am picking it. I was debating this all week if I wanted to go ahead and do it, but I think the Colts win. I do. I know the Bills are the better team, and everything says they're at home, they should win this game, but the Colts lost to the Bills last year in the playoffs, and I think they want to get their revenge. I think they get their revenge. They end up scoring that go-ahead touchdown to win a 24-21 win over Buffalo. And then moving on to the next matchup, this may be really quick, but we got the Detroit Lions heading to Cleveland to face the Browns. Let's start with the Detroit injury report. We got Trey Flowers. These 3 players are out. Trey Flowers is out with a knee. Jamar Jefferson with a knee and ankle. Matt Nelson with an ankle. Jared Goff is doubtful with his oblique, so Tim Boyle will be making the start. Good luck with that. We have 4 players that are questionable. Trinity Benson with a knee, Taylor Decker with an elbow, Tracy Walker with a concussion, and then Jamal Williams with a thigh. Now on the Brown side, Nick Chubb is back, by the way. If anybody is wondering, he's out of COVID protocol, so that's going to be huge against that terrible rushing defense of Detroit. And then these three players are out. AJ Green with a concussion, Troy Hill with a neck, Anthony Schwartz with a concussion, Tat McKinley is questionable with the groin, and then Donovan Peoples-Jones is questionable with the groin. Yeah, so as far as this matchup, I think the Browns offense is about to get things back on track now that Nick Chubb's out. They're going against one of the worst defenses in the league, especially against the run, like I just mentioned. So I think you're going to see Nick Chubb go over 100 yards and get himself a couple pairs of touchdowns. And with the rushing attack going, that's going to allow Baker to feed off the play action and hit his tight ends, his wide receivers, whoever they're getting involved tomorrow. I think they're going to put up like 3 to 4 scoring drives against the Detroit defense, which is they're probably a little bit of gas after playing a full overtime game last week and getting that tie. So I think they're going to be a little suspect to getting tired early and getting worn down early, and I think that's going to allow the Browns to break out this game by the third quarter. Then you flip sides of the ball. I already didn't like the Lions' offense with Jared Goff. You think I'm going to like it with Tim Boyle? No. So yeah, I think their offense is going to have their struggles once again. They're going to struggle to get the air attack going. Maybe they get some rushing attack going with DeAndre Swift. Maybe they can move the chains with TJ Hawkinson, but I'm not really expecting much. Maybe they get 2 scoring drives, but I think the Browns defense should be able to ball out and come out and put the clamps down on that Lions offense. I think the Browns handle their business. I think they win like a 31-14 type of win tomorrow. And then moving into the next game, this one's definitely an intriguing matchup, something nobody was expecting at the beginning of the year to happen. We got the Washington football team heading to Carolina against the Panthers. So you got the former Carolina Panthers head coach Ron Rivera heading back to his former team that he used to be the head coach of, and now we got Cam Newton back with Carolina, his former quarterback that he went to a Super Bowl with, that nobody thought would be back in Carolina, is now the head. He has been announced as the starting quarterback. So that's something to note. And then let's take a look at the quick injury reports on both sides. For the football team, Ricky Seals-Jones is out with a hip. These 4 players are questionable. Sadiq Charles with an illness, Kendall Fuller with a knee, Curtis Samuel with a groin, and then Benjamin St. Juste with a concussion. And then you got Stanley Thomas Oliver is questionable with a toe. So yeah, let's just start with it. Like, it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup to see how this all plays out, because you know what, everybody all the narratives and outside things that are so connected into this game, because you know, you got the Carolina offense. We'll have to see how this now looks with Cam Newton going forward. But I think you're going to see some things that we've seen out of typical Cam Newton offenses over the past few years. I think you're going to see a lot of Christian McCaffrey. And they're going against a football team defense, which, yeah, they did some good things last week against the Bucs, but for the most of the part of the year, they've been really weak against the passing attack. Their star, Chase Young, is out for the year with his torn ACL. Montez Sweat is out for the foreseeable future with his, I think he broke his jaw. And so the 2 outside edge rushers are out. Yeah, so guess what they're going to do? They're going to do a lot of outside runs. They're going to do a lot of maybe read. They're going to, because those guys have not that many experiences. So they're going to do the quarterback read with Cam and CMC. I think they're going to attack the edge of that defense with the rushing attack. And that's how they're going to be able to move the ball at probably like a 4 to 6 yard per carry clip as a team. And they're going to be able to just keep drives alive and keep the clock, keep ball control, and march down the field. I think they'll put together like 2 to 3 scoring drives. I think they're going to have their struggles at times, but as they work out through the kinks with Cam now as a full-time quarterback, but they should be able to find some success on running on the outside against the football team. And then you flip sides of the ball, like obviously the Washington football team is coming off their best game, I would say, as an offense, in my opinion. Taylor Heineke protected the ball. They got the ground game going with Antonio Gibson. Of course, Terry McLaurin is such a playmaker whenever he can get out of the double coverage. So They're going against a Carolina defense, which is pretty good this year. They're really good against the run, so I think they're going to be able to keep Antonio Gibson somewhat in check for most of the game. And then they're going to make Taylor Heineke beat them. And then as long as they cannot let Terry McLaurin go off, there's not really. I mean, there's been some guys that are emerging in the wide receiver room for Washington, but still, if you could just keep Terry McLaurin in check, I like your chances to limit the amount of scoring drives that the Washington can put together. But I still think they got enough talent where they're going to put together at least 2 scoring drives. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I do think this is going to come down to it's going to be like a 1-score game. Who can take the lead in the fourth quarter and hold on to it? Man, I just got to go with my man Cam at home against his former coach. I right now think they are the better team than Washington. I think Cam has brought a lot of energy now to the Panthers, so I'm going to pick the Panthers to win this. I think they win like a 21-17 win tomorrow. And then the next game, we got the Houston Texans coming off their bye, heading to Tennessee to face the Titans. Taking a look at the Texans injury report, Hardy Nickerson is out with a concussion, and then these 2 players are questionable. Jonathan Grenard with a foot, and Cravon LeBlanc with his illness. And then on the Titans side, they have a number of guys that are out tomorrow. Nate Davis with a concussion, Bud Dupree with an abdomen, David Long Jr. with a hamstring, Jeremy McNichols with a concussion, Rashawn Evans with an ankle, Greg Maben with an ankle, Jeff Swaim with a concussion, and then I can't believe he actually legally got his name changed to this, but it is now listed on the injury report. But old Janoris Jenkins is now officially known as Jackrabbit Jenkins. That is officially his name legally. So Jackrabbit Jenkins is questionable with his chest injury. So yeah, the Titans, man, I mean, dude, they're dealing with all these injuries and they keep winning games. It's like it's kind of baffling to me. Like it didn't make much sense like in the games when they played the good teams, right? And then last week, it's like, all right, they caught the Saints at the right time. Saints have no threat with Trevor Siemian. I'm sorry, I'll get into that later. And then this week, they're playing the Texans. It's like, they're still banged up. They got all these guys on the injury report, but it's like, all right, well, this is a perfect time to play the Texans. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really expect much out of the Texans going forward. They're more likely, looking to see if they could potentially secure the number 1 pick, just depending on how the Lions season plays out. But yeah, I think the Titans offense, they should be able to move the ball against the Texans defense. I expect AJ Brown, he had a quiet game. At least I expect him because I need him in my fantasy team. But yeah, I definitely expect AJ Brown to get things going. They got Deontay Foreman and Adrian Peterson, so they should be able to kind of move the ball as a rushing attack. And then Ryan Tannehill will play, a game manager style. He'll protect the ball. They'll put together, they should be able to put together 3 scoring drives against the Texans defense. And your flip sides of the ball, I mean, what is there to really expect out of the Texans offense? It's Tyrod Taylor, who's going to pepper a lot of targets at Brandon Cooks. Maybe they get David Johnson going. Probably not. So, I mean, they're going to be a hit and miss offense. I do think, the Titans, to me, you could still move the ball through them against the air. It's very hard to run against them. I think the Titans defense will be able to bottle up that rushing attack, force Tyrod Taylor to beat them, which will eventually result in turnovers or maybe just stalled drives. So maybe they get a scoring drive or 2 out of the day, but I think the Titans are going to handle their business. I think they're actually going to end up winning like a 28-14 type of win for Tennessee. And then moving on to the next matchup, we got the San Francisco 49ers heading out to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. So let me go ahead and note this, guys. You guys know how I feel about this. This is a West Coast team traveling to the East Coast at that 1 p.m. time. Does that affect my pick? Maybe not so much, because we'll see, though. The Jaguars defense has been playing really good. Let me just go ahead and get into it. The 49ers injury report, JaMycal Hasty's out with an ankle. Maurice Hurst is out with a calf. Elijah Mitchell is doubtful with a rib and finger, so it looks like Jeff Wilson will be the running back for San Francisco. For fantasy people out there, if Jeff Wilson is available, I know I went and grabbed him, and I put him in a lineup that I am going to be missing Alvin Kamara this week. So that's something I didn't have to talk about, but it just came out, guys, so just deal with it. Anyways, Jaguars out with Dakota Allen with the shoulder, and then James Robinson is questionable with his heel and knee. So Yeah, let's just start with the San Francisco offense, right? Like, obviously, they ran down the Rams' throat last week, and whenever they get that rushing attack going, like they did last week, that's when Jimmy Garoppolo's at his best, because then he can feed off the play action, he can feed off the defense that are so like on their front toes because they're so ready to defend the run that it allows Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle to work their routes early and get open. That's when he plays at his best. Now, I will say this Jaguars defense is getting really good as this season has come along. Their defensive front, with Josh Allen, Clavon Chason, Tavon Bryan, they got Miles Jack in the middle of the defense. They are becoming a really good rushing defense. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out between both teams. Because like I said, if the 49ers come out sluggish because of the time difference, that's going to be something to watch. But I do think Kyle Shanahan, being the brainchild that he is, will be able to figure out how to attack this defenses with his rushing game. And I do think there are some things that the Colts did at the beginning of the game last week that they could utilize and get things open for Jeff Wilson and maybe Trey Sermon as well. And then they can work to the play action and try to work out some passing yards with Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. They should still put together around 2 to 3 scoring drives, I would say. Now, where the Jaguars got to still work out on their kinks is their offense. Their offense have had it's been more of a down year than an up year. They got some good things going last week with James Robinson. So I think they're going to try to attack the 49ers defense with the run, because that is one thing you can do against that 49ers defense is you can run the ball against them. I don't know what happened with the Rams last week. They only gave Darrell Henderson 5 carries, but he still averaged 6.2 yards per carry. I maybe might know that because I took the over on Darrell Henderson's rushing yards on Monday night, and they only gave him five touches. So yeah, if the Jaguars offense is going to do anything, they need to come out right away and attack this defense, right in the middle, because that's where they're missing some guys who are on the IR right now. So you can run the ball against them, and if they can get the rushing attack going, then that's going to take off pressure of Trevor Lawrence, where then he can find guys that are open for him. Maybe they can finally get him and Marvin Jones going, and with Laviska Shenault. Dan Arnold's been a nice little tight end, and I do think the Jaguars offense is going to find some things that work for them in this game, and I think they're going to make this a competitive game against San Francisco. I think this is going to be a lot closer than what maybe most people would think, just because of how the Jaguars defense has been playing over the last couple weeks, and I think their offense is going to find a couple things that work for them in this game. I do think the Jaguars will have a shot to win it in the fourth quarter. Like I said, I think the time difference shows up, but I think the 49ers are, right now, I trust the 49ers coaching staff over Jacksonville right now. So I'm going to pick the 49ers. I say they win like a 24-17, 24-21 type of win. But if the Jaguars win, don't be surprised. Their defense has been really impressing me, but I am going to pick the 49ers. I will bet on the 49ers, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But I definitely don't. I definitely wouldn't. I just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if the Jaguars win tomorrow. This next game, we got the Miami Dolphins traveling to New York to face the Jets. Taking a look at the injury reports, we got the 2 players for Dolphins are questionable. Christian Wilkins with a quad and Andrew Van Ginkel with a back. And then the Jets, Zach Wilson is doubtful with his knee injury. And then these 2 players are questionable. Nathan Shepard with a knee, and then Elijah Vera Tucker with his toe. Yeah, so this might be a quick one. So, Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback for the Jets this week, so that's very uninspiring to say the least. They're going against, the Miami defense, who's been playing very well over the last few weeks, and they're starting to come along. So I think they're going to be able to, create some pressure on Joe, get some sacks off of him, and then anytime you add Xavier Howard in the back end of the defense, there's always potential turnovers. And I just think the Jets' offense is just going to struggle to move the ball and sustain drives and put up points against Miami. And then it'll be interesting to see. Tua Tagovailoa is going to start this game, and I do think they're going to be able to find some things against the Jets defense, which has been pretty, let's just be honest, they've been freaking awful over the last month. So I think they're going to get things going with the ground attack between Miles Gaskin, maybe sprinkled in with a Sullivan Ahmed, and then they're going to be able to get things going. I think Jalen Waddle could have a huge game against the secondary. I think he can go over 100 yards and get a touchdown or two. Mike Gesicki should have a good game, and I think we're going to probably see the best outing from the Miami offense tomorrow. I think they're going to handle their business. I think they end up winning let's say they win like a 24-10 win tomorrow. And then let's go ahead and move into the next matchup. I believe this is the last. Guy, for my longtime followers that have been listening to my shows every year, I've always complained about this, but I haven't had the opportunity. I forgot to do this at the beginning of the year. NFL, what are you doing? Why do we only have 3 4 p.m. games? I just went through a handful of 1 p.m. games. You couldn't have 1 or 2 of those games be at the 4 o'clock time, so red zone's worth it in case all 3 of the afternoon games stink. I don't know. There's something that's always has bothered me anytime we only get 3 4 p.m. games. But yeah, this is the last 1 p.m. game. Let me go ahead and get into this. We got the New Orleans Saints traveling up to Philadelphia to face the Eagles. Taking a look at the Saints injury report, they got a number of players that are out. Ty Montgomery with a hand, Teron Armstead with a knee and shoulder, Ryan Ramczyk with a knee, Malcolm Roach with a knee, Tanu Kapaskan, I think I butchered that, is out with an ankle, and Alvin Kamara is out with his knee injury, and then Taysom Hill is questionable with a foot. On the Eagles side, Jack Anderson is out with a hamstring, and then these 2 players are questionable. Davion Taylor with the knee, and Derek Barnett with his neck. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting game because if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they're sitting at 4-6. A win here puts them at 5-6, and if you look at the rest of the NFC wildcard spots, the Eagles might be trying to sneak their way back into it, and they got a favorable schedule coming up too. So yeah, let's just start with the Philadelphia offense. They get Miles Sanders back this week. They're starting to find something over the last couple weeks with their rushing attack. Finally, they're giving the ball. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to get the rushing attack going against this New Orleans defense. Now, New Orleans defense is really good against the run, so that's probably not going to work. Just saying, they're going to try to get the rushing attack going, so this is going to be on Jalen, where he's going to have to use his mobility. He's going to have to win with his arm and not make too many force throws and take what is given to him. I think you're going to see him pepper Dallas Goedert with plenty of targets to start the game. And then he's going to allow Devontae Smith and Jalen Reagor and the rest of the guys on the outside eventually to get theirs as the game progresses. I expect Marshawn Lattimore is probably going to cover Devontae Smith. That's going to be a one-on-one matchup where they can try to take him out of the game. So that's why I expect a lot of Dallas Goedert involved. And they're going to need Jalen Reagor to ball out. He has to step up and prove up on his talent in this game. But I do think it's going to be an offense where I think they're going to find drives 2 or 3 times where they're going to be able to find some success against the Saints defense. But then I think the Saints defense will definitely step up and shut down the Eagles offense, force them to punt, and have them have stalled drives. Now, this is where I think this game gets interesting because the Saints offense is nothing to be scared of right now. I keep on saying that with Trevor Siemian at the quarterback position. Then you look at their injuries, right? Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk are out. That's both of their starting tackles. Well, guess what? Josh Sweat is going to eat tomorrow, and he's going to get after Trevor Siemian, who has no rushing ability at all, and he can't run away from Josh Sweat. So Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave are going to demand the good interior lineman's presence. It's going to set up one-on-one opportunities for the edge rushers to come off the edge and get pressure on Trevor Siemian. I don't like that at all. Alvin Kamara is out, so they just have to worry about bottling up the rushing attack. Don't let the rushing attack get anything going against them and force Trevor Siemian to beat you. And then when you force Trevor Siemian to beat you, that's when that edge rush is going to have their day and get some pressure, get some sacks, and potentially force some turnovers. I think the Saints offense is going to struggle tomorrow. I think the Philadelphia defense has been coming along over the last few weeks. They are building some confidence, and I think they're going to, force the Saints to maybe only 1 or 2 scoring drives. I got the Eagles winning it. I do. I picked them last week. I'm riding them again this week. I think the Eagles find a way to win it over the Saints. I think they end up winning it's gonna be like probably a low scoring game. I think they win like a 21-14 win over the Saints. Moving into the 4 p.m. games, we got the Cincinnati Bengals traveling out to Las Vegas to face the Raiders. As far as the injury report on this one, with the Bengals, Tyler Shelvin is questionable with his knee, and then we have Auden Tate, who is questionable with his thigh, and then on the Raiders side, 3 players are out: Alec Ingold with a knee, Nick Kalkowski with an ankle, Keyshawn Nixon with a ankle and foot. And then these 2 players are questionable: Brandon Faxon, I'm not sure how you say that name, finger and hamstring, and then Jalen Richard with his ribs. So yeah, with this game, this is another game that has like such a ripple effect on the AFC right now, because like I mentioned earlier, there's so much heavy competition going on right now in the AFC for division titles, for the wild card spots. So every game matters. It's basically, we're in playoff football, guys, with it being this time of the year. So yeah, with the Raiders offense, like obviously, like they're having their struggles now. I kind of mentioned this back when the John Gruden situation came out. Like this offense was probably not going to develop into what John Gruden envisioned. And now that he's been out of the room, out of the locker room, you're kind of seeing this offense digress. Like I think and it also, missing Henry Ruggs, that hurt their offense too. So their offense is more condensed. There's no creativity with the offense. You're kind of getting what you're getting with this offense. Whatever they had at the time that John Gruden left is what they are still doing now. And there's no evolvement of this offense. So they're going against, though, a Bengals defense which has been up and down, right? At times this Bengals defense has looked very solid. Then at times they have been awful, right? So what Bengals defense are we going to get? I think we're going to get the good Bengals defense tomorrow. They're as healthy as they have been on that side of the ball. So I think they're going to be able to keep this Raiders offense in check. I think Josh Jacobs in the rushing attack is going to be able to kept in check. They're going to force Derek Carr to beat them. And as long as they don't let Deshaun Jackson get behind them maybe a couple times in the game, I think they're going to be able to keep everything in front of them and then come up, bottle things up when they need to. I think it's going to be an up and down day for the Raiders offense. I do think they still put together, they should maybe still get about 3 scoring drives depending on how well the Bengals defense plays. But I think the Bengals defense should be able to either force turnovers or force them a punt throughout the day. Then you flip sides of the ball, the Bengals offense, obviously, they got to get back on track. They looked very ugly the last time that we saw them against that Browns and that ugly Browns loss. And I think they're going to be able to get things going against this Raiders defense. I think what they could take, what they saw what the Chiefs did last week, and put that into this game. They're going to allow everything up in front of them, right? The easy passes. So I think CJ Uzomah has a good game. I think Jamar Chase is going to be able to work in the intermediate game, and he's going to be able to, take his athleticism and take that to create some explosive plays. I think Joe Mixon is going to get things going on the ground. And then as long as that offensive line can keep Max Crosby and Nini Ngakwe somewhat in check, I think they're going to be able to sustain drives for most of the day. I think their offense should be in scoring position throughout the game. It's just all about them converting those scoring drives into touchdowns. But I think they should be able to get the job done. They should be able to score those 3+ scoring drives. I do think it's going to be a competitive game, but I think at some point Joe Burrow takes over in the fourth quarter and he puts together a couple scoring drives which push the game out of the reach. I think that Bengals end up winning like a 31-21 win over Las Vegas. And then moving on to the next game, this game is going to be pretty exciting. We got the Cowboys heading up to KC to face the Chiefs. As far as the Cowboys, it came out yesterday that Amari Cooper is in COVID protocol. They already pretty much said he's out not only this game, and then the Cowboys are playing on Thanksgiving, and they are saying that Amari is out that game. I just traded away Amari Cooper this week, so I'm kind of happy I did that in that league. But that's another story. I don't know why I'm bringing it up. Anyway, so Amari Cooper out tomorrow, more than likely out on Thursday from what I understand. And then these three players are questionable: Tyron Smith with an ankle, Nashawn Wright with a hamstring, and then Kelvin Joseph he's out with an illness. And then on the Chiefs side, Lucas Niang is out with his ribs. L'Jarius Sneed is questionable with his knee injury, and Amarni Watts is questionable with this illness. So yeah, this is a pretty exciting game. This is definitely a game I think is going to can turn into a shootout potential. I think we're going to see Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes go back and forth in this battle between both teams. I think Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense has regained confidence, and they do see that they are still the team that they can be, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And it's going to come down to if like the Cowboys offense can take away either Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, but I don't think they're going to be able to. I really don't like the linebackers in Dallas and as far as their coverage ability, I don't think they have a guy that can stick on Travis Kelce. So I think Travis Kelce is going to have himself a day, and then it will be interesting to see how they defend Tyreek Hill. They probably will give him bracket coverage. They should anyways, and force the other wide receivers to beat them. And then as long as Patrick plays like he did last week, where he takes what is given to him and then does take that occasional shot that can give them an explosive play, I think they should be able to move the ball against this Cowboys defense and put up 3 scoring drives on the day. And then you flip sides of the ball, obviously missing Amari Cooper is huge because Amari Cooper demands double coverage at all times, which is why I think guys like CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup can go off. So it's going to be interesting to see how the KC defense defends this offense. Now, I do think Zeke Elliott's going to get his. I think he's going to get 20 plus touches and put together himself a good game against this Kansas City defense. And then I do think that's going to allow them to go to the play action, and that's going to allow Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb to get open because the defense is going to be so focused on Ezekiel Elliott. So I think they're going to put together themselves 3 scoring drives. I think this is going to be a back and forth battle. There's probably going to be more than 3 scoring drives, maybe 4 to 5 scoring drives by both offenses. I think this is a barn burner type of the matchup. The matchup, if you're going to bet the over, that I would be willing to take on. And I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter, who has the ball last, who can march down the field and get that field goal to win the game. Man, I've been debating this all week, like who I wanted to pick, because I can really see either team winning. But I really do think a less than 100% Tyron Smith, and then with Amari Cooper out of that offense, I think that dampers the Cowboys offense, where eventually it will hurt them, where it holds them back from maybe getting that extra score to win the game. I think Kansas City wins a 35-31 win over the Cowboys tomorrow. And then moving on to the next game, we got the Arizona Cardinals traveling up to Seattle to face the Seahawks. The Cardinals are so banged up, it's kind of ridiculous at this point. But let's go over this injury report. These 4 players are out. DeAndre Hopkins with his hamstring, Justin Pugh with a calf, Tanner Vajaleo with a knee, Jonathan Ward with a concussion, and then these number of players are questionable. Corey Peters with a shoulder, James Wiggins with a knee, Budda Baker with a heel, Max Garcia with an Achilles, Colt McCoy with a pectoral, and Kyler Murray with an ankle. So we'll have to see, man. Like, Kyler Murray practiced all week, so that says he should play. But they have their bye week coming up next week, so some people think they may rest him. But it's like, well, listen, like, if you want that number 1 seed, you got to get these wins, especially against the Seahawks team on the road. And then as far as the Seahawks, really quick, these number of players are questionable. Kerry Hyder with a calf, Jamarco Jones with a back, Cody Barton with a quadricep, DJ Reed with a groin, and then Jamal Adams is questionable with his groin. So, man, I don't know how to pick this game. I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm going to be holding off betting on this game until I find out if Kyler Murray is going to play or not. So with that being said, let's start with the offense, like the Cardinals offense. They should be able to run the ball against the Seattle defense. The Seattle defense has struggled to defend the run this year. So I expect, even whether it's Colt McCoy or a less than 100% Kyler Murray, they're going to heavily lean on James Conner in the rushing attack and try to see if that can open up the passing attack for them, where they can get Christian Kirk involved, AJ Green involved, maybe finally get Rondale Moore some more touches. And they didn't really get him involved last week. But I think they should be able to, even if Colt McCoy's in there, that move the ball at times. But if Colt McCoy's in there, I wonder if they're going to be able to sustain drives and convert drives and touchdowns. If Kyler is back, I think we'll see a good Kyler game out of him, and he should be able to allow the offense to be more explosive with his arm and his. We'll have to see if he can even run, but I think they should be able to put up some scoring drives if Kyler is at the helm. I just, it's so hard for me to predict who's going to be the quarterback when I don't have that information quite yet. So I want to say he's trending towards playing, and I think the offense should be a lot better than what we saw last week. And then taking a look at the Seahawks, man, that was one of the worst outings from Russell Wilson. Obviously, his finger is still bothering him, but I do think a game in, he'll be able to shake off what he did last week and put together some good things against that Cardinals defense tomorrow. I forgot to put this on the report. Chris Carson, by the way, he's done. He's having, I think, surgery. His season's over. So it's officially Alex Collins, Rashad Penny, and company. That will be the running back. So they'll try to get the rushing attack going against that against the Arizona defense. And then they'll probably try to take what worked for the Carolina offense last week and then put that into their offense this week. I think we'll see a nice little game out of DK Metcalf. I think Tyler Lockett will bounce back. I think that we're going to see a bounce back performance by the Seahawks offense, and they're at home. You also got to factor in the 12s too. So I think they will put together a good outing, a good performance, and we'll push this to the end of the fourth quarter as far as who's going to win this game. Now, as far as my picks, I'm gonna go ahead and say this: if Kyler Murray doesn't play, Seahawks get the win. They win like a 24-21 win. If Kyler plays, I think that adds another touchdown for them, and they win like a 28-24 win. That's the difference. I think if Kyler plays, they get the extra touchdown to win, 28-24. You take Kyler out of the picture, I think the Seahawks win 24-21. So that's my pick this week. Like I said, I'm gonna wait and see who plays, and before I make my bet and make my official pick. I'm hoping we had some information come out from Schefter last week on Saturday night, so hopefully we'll get some information tonight at some point, or even at some point today. I want to say he's going to play. At least I hope he plays for my fantasy team. Anyways, let's keep it moving. We got the Sunday night game. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling out to LA to face the Chargers. The big note came on right before I hopped on to record this morning. It has been reported that Big Ben is flying separately from his team, and he will be activated today out of COVID protocol. So we will get to see Ben Roethlisberger versus Justin Herbert in this matchup. Now, there is still some things, still some factors on who's going to be playing and not in this game. But so let's go ahead and start with the Steelers. They got a lot of key pieces going to be missing on defense. Minka Fitzpatrick is in COVID protocol. He's out. All these players are out. Joe Hayden's out with a foot. Kevin Dotson's out with an ankle. TJ Watt is out with a hip and knee. And then Isaiah Loudermilk is out with a groin. And then the Chargers are also dealing with their issues. These four players are in COVID protocol. Joey Bosa, Drew Tranquill, Jerry Tillery, and Christian Covington are all in COVID protocol. But if they all don't test positive today, from what I understand, all four of them have a shot to play tomorrow. But nothing of that came out this morning before I hopped on. So we'll have to see how that comes out. And then these three players are doubtful. Alohi Gilman with a quadricep, Linval Joseph with a shoulder, and Mark Webb with his knee. And then these two players are questionable. So Justin Jackson with a quadricep and Trey Marshall with an ankle. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this game plays out, right? So it was reported that the Steelers basically game plan for Mason Rudolph to be their quarterback all week. So I'm assuming they're actually going to somewhat stick to that game plan, since that is what was practiced, that is what was game script. And Big Ben obviously is just as an upgrade over Mason Rudolph, so maybe he can just run that game plan a lot better than what Rudolph could. Now, if there's a way you can attack the Chargers defense, it is on the ground. So if they can get things going and dominate the trenches early and then open up holes for Najee Harris, I think they can get some things going on the ground. And then they do have Chase Claypool back this week, so maybe that can open up the play action for Big Ben, where he can take some deep shots to Chase Claypool and pepper Deontay Johnson with plenty of targets. I do think they should be able to move the ball at times, and this is just one of those things where they just have to convert those drives into touchdowns, so they can be able to play catch up with the Chargers offense. So I think they should be able to put up some scoring drives. My biggest worry though with them is Big Ben going to have any rust? Is not practicing all week going to play over, and maybe that causes mischemistry between him and his wide receivers that either result in incompletions or even potentially turnovers. So, and then obviously where I think this comes down to is if Joey Bosa, I'm assuming Joey Bosa should be able to play, right? He hasn't tested positive all week. He's just a close contact. So if Joey Bosa plays, he's going against a rookie left tackle. That's going to show up at some point in the game. I think he'll end up coming off that edge, and he's going to hit Big Ben and force a turnover at some point tomorrow night. So then you flip sides of the ball, man, the Chargers offense, this is a get-right type of game for them, because typically they would be facing one of the better defenses in the league, but when you talk about Minkah Fitzpatrick is out, Joe Hayden is out, that's two of their best coverage guys on the back end of the defense. And then let's just talk about the leader of the defense, TJ Watt, is out. Yeah, so I think the Chargers offense is in a get-right type of matchup where I think Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are going to absolutely go off against that defense, and I think they're going to get as Austin Eckler involved, not in the rushing attack. I think you're going to see these little dump-offs, little screens with Austin Eckler, and that's going to open up things in the front end of the defense, get the eyes from the linebackers on Austin Eckler, and that's going to allow things open for Jared Cook in the middle of the defense. And I think I just don't think they have enough good coverage guys in the back end of the defense without Minkah, without Joe Hayden, and that's going to allow Mike Williams to go off. It's going to allow Keenan Allen to go off, and I think the Chargers offense is going to put up 3 scoring drives against against that defense tomorrow night. And I think what it's going to come down to, like I mentioned, if can the Steelers offense convert their drives into touchdowns and play catch up with them. I like I said, I think at some point Joey Bosa ends up coming off the edge and opening up this game with a forced fumble. I had the Chargers winning this game. I think they end up winning like a 28-21 win against the Steelers. Now, moving into this next matchup, we got the Giants traveling down to Tampa Bay to face the Bucks. And a little news for you guys. You guys might see me. I'm not sure. I should have actually looked. I got the ticket yesterday. I will be at that game tomorrow on Monday night. My shout out to my boss Tyler. He hooked up me and my other coworker Vincent with some his season tickets. So me and Vincent are going to be at the game on Monday. So if you see an end zone shot, you might see this face on Monday Night Football. So let me go ahead though and get into this matchup. On the Giants side, this is a big loss for their defense. Logan Ryan is in COVID protocol. He's out of the matchup. It was actually announced this morning that he's officially not going to play. And then again, these injury reports are from yesterday. These are not the final injury reports. Those will come out at some point today. But these 3 players did not practice. Lorenzo Carter with an illness and ankle, Nate Ebner with a knee, and then Sterling Shepard with a quad. And then these 4 players were limited. Caden Smith with a knee, Saquon Barkley with an ankle, Devontae Booker with a hip, and Cullen Gillespie with a calf. And then taking a look at the Bucks injury report, these 2 players did not practice. Antonio Brown with an ankle and Vita Vea with a knee. And then these 4 players have been limited. D. Delani with an ankle and concussion, Chris Godwin with a foot, Jason Pierre-Paul with a shoulder and hand, and Raheem Nunez Roaches with an ankle. Where do I want to start? So yeah, let's just start with that. The Giants offense, right? So I think we're going to see the Giants offense kind of look better than what it has over the last couple of weeks that we have seen them, because Saquon Barkley will be back, Kenny Galladay is going to be back, and Darius Toney will be back. So they should have they're going to be missing Sterling Shepard, but it should be as healthy as they've been. in offense over the last like month or so, and they're going to be going against a defense that has been underwhelming this year, to say the least. Vita Vea is not going to be playing. Now, they still got Ndamukong Suh and others, but Vita Vea is such a crucial piece to that defense. So yeah, I do expect that they can potentially get some things going with Saquon Barkley, because Vita Vea typically, he demands those double teams, so that should be able to open up things where they can get things going with Saquon. And I think Saquon's going to want to ball out, because don't forget, it was only when Danny Dimes had his breakout game against the Bucs a couple years ago. Saquon, that's where he got hurt that year. So I think he's going to be returning to his field, and he's going to want to ball out. And then the Bucs secondary, I think they're getting Sean Murphy-Bunting back this week, if I remember that right. That will help them out, but they're still suspect. They're still down Carlton Davis as well. So I think they should be able to get things going with Kadarius Toney, Kenny Golladay, and I think they're going to be able to put up some drives if they move the ball. But it's going to come down to them getting those drives into touchdowns against that defense. But I think they're going to be able to have some success at times against the Tampa Bay defense. And then you flip sides of the ball. I mean, what was going on with that Tampa Bay offense last week? They couldn't get anything going. They are going against a defense which can be good at times, but can be suspect at giving up the passing attack. So James Bradbury and Mike Evans have had their battles in the past. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. Rob Gronkowski is going to be back, right? So I think that's going to make a difference. I'm probably going to bet on an anytime Gronk touchdown so I can watch that live. Hopefully it happens right there in front of me. I think Gronk does get himself a touchdown. I think this is going to set up for, obviously Brady hates the Giants because of those Super Bowls. So I think the Bucs offense is going to kind of get things back on track, get the season back on track. Because they just lost back-to-back games, and I think you're going to see a nice outing. I think they're going to set the tone early. I wouldn't be surprised if they start the game with the ball, they march down the field, get a scoring drive, and they just take command of this game, and they can control this game. I think the Giants do kind of fight back and make it interesting in the second or third quarter, and then I think the Bucs find a way to open things up and get the win in the fourth quarter. I don't like the spread because I'm trying to figure out how I want to bet on it. I really don't like the 11-point spread because the Giants played them pretty close last year, but I might bet the spread because I'm gonna be there live. Let's just say the Bucs do find a way to cover the spread. They win like let's say they win like a 35-21 win on Monday night. So yeah, that's my video, guys. I do appreciate anybody that takes their time to watch these videos. I really do appreciate the support, the people that reach out to me, say I like what you do. So I always enjoy that, guys. So anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. Let's get myself to 30. Go tell a friend to subscribe to me. Just kidding. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday when I do my top waiver wire targets for next week and their top streamable defenses. If anybody has football questions, fantasy football questions, text me, DM me, at Cody Talks NFL on Twitter. I'll talk to you guys later. I want to get this edited and published as soon as possible, so I'll talk to you guys later. Enjoy your rest of the weekend, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday.